Now we'll see the important, very important structure of the temporomandibular joint, that is articular disc. So if you see articular disc in the temporomandibular joint, the articular disc is a biconcave. Biconcave, what it means? Suppose if you take articular disc like this, it is a superiorly it is concave, inferior also concave. So that inferiorly if it is concave means condyle of the mandible will come and articulate here, and at the same time condyle of the articular eminence. See here, the condyle of the mandible is a convex, articular eminence also convex. So between these two convex surfaces, the concave, biconcave means bilaterally concave. So the concave articular disc is going to be helpful for the proper articulation in the temporomandibular joint. Here the red color what we draw here, this is here, this articular disc. Here condyle of the mandible is convex, here it is concave. This is articular eminence of the temporal bone. Here it is convex. It is convex. So that here articular disc also concave. So that it is a biconcave structure. The disc, and one more point, the disc which is present here, the disc is firmly, mean tightly. The disc is tightly attached medial and lateral poles of the mandible. So recent mean earlier we said that if you take mandible like this, superior view, so these are the medial poles, these are the lateral poles. So here the disc is going to attach tightly to the medial and lateral poles of the mandible, like bilateral, right side and left side, the disc is going to attach lateral poles and medial poles very tightly. So what is the use of that? Means because of the connection in medial and lateral portions tightly, here the movements of anterior posterior movements can happen freely in the temporomandibular joint. How it is means, suppose if you see medial pole, lateral pole, okay, this mandible, here disc is attached tightly. So medial lateral movements are difficult, but anterior movement and posterior movements, anterior movement and posterior movements can happen very freely, because here the disc is not that tightly connected to the condyle of the mandible. If we see anteriorly, the disc is going to connect to the joint capsule, at the same time tendon of the lateral pterygoid muscle. So here this is our capsule of the temporomandibular joint. So anteriorly the disc is connected to the capsule of the temporomandibular joint and lateral pterygoid muscle. This is lateral pterygoid muscle. And if we see the anterior attachments restrict the posterior translation of the disc. What it means? The anterior attachments here, joint capsule and lateral pterygoid muscle, joint capsule and lateral pterygoid muscle. These structures, disc is attached to this structure. No, these structures are going to prevent the posterior movement of the disc. So these are going to restrict the posterior movement of the articular disc. So this is about the anterior connection to the articular disc. If we see posteriorly, the articular disc is going to connect to the see here posteriorly. This is posteriorly, this is anteriorly. We saw anteriorly joint capsule will be there. At the same time here tendon of the lateral pterygoid muscle. Okay, if we see posteriorly, here we'll be having lamina. Those lamina, see here, this is the superior lamina. This portion. I will draw a little different. This portion is the superior lamina. And this portion is the inferior lamina. This is the inferior lamina. So posteriorly, the articular disc is connected to the superior lamina, and this is the inferior lamina. So here the both together we can say like lamella by. Here both together we can say like bilaminar retrodiscal pad. So here the articular disc is posteriorly connected to the superior lamina, inferior lamina, like ligaments. Okay, these two laminas are together called bi, means to by laminar retrodiscal pad. Okay. And one more point here, superior lamina. If we take superior lamina, the superior lamina here, which is present here, it is going to attach to the tympanic plate. It is going to attach to the tympanic plate. So what is this bone? This is the posterior glenoid. Spine. This is the posterior glenoid spine. Just behind this posterior glenoid spine, we will be having tympanic plate. The superior lamina is going to attach to the tympanic plate. Now, if we see inferior lamina, the inferior lamina which is present here, it will attach to the condyle of the mandible. So these are the connections of the articular disc: superior connection, inferior connection, posteriorly, and anteriorly. The connections are joint capsule and lateral pterygoid muscle. And last point, thickness. So if we see the thickness of the articular disc, the anterior portion thickness of the articular disc is 2 millimeter, and posterior portion middle will be there, and then posterior portion thickness will be 3 millimeter, middle portion thickness will be 1 millimeter. See here, suppose this anterior portion thickness will be 2 millimeter, middle portion will be only 1 millimeter, posterior portion will be only 3 millimeter. So here middle portion the thickness is very less. Why? Because it is a biconcave. See, why? Because it is a biconcave, so that the shape was like this. So that's why here thickness is very less. Because of this less thickness in the middle portion, it is going to provide a good congruence, a good articulation for the condylar of the mandible and the articular eminence of the temporal bone. And that one more point here, the anterior and posterior portions are the innervated portions. That means nerve supply will be there, and at the same time blood supply will be there. If we take the middle portion, it is a avascular. Avascular means A means no. Okay, there is no vascular support, there is no blood supply to the middle portion, and at the same time nerve supply to the middle portion. So what is the point here means, in the middle we are not having blood supply and nerve supply. So because of this the structure which is present here, middle portion, it is going to take the more stress. It can take the more stresses. So this is about the articular disc. Clear?